each platform charges its own percentage for like the NFTs that you mint. So the whole point is there are fees and you need to pay them, but it's probably much less than what you would pay to like galleries or whatever like that. So that being said, I want to kind of conclude with the market size. How big is the NFT market? Is it millions, billions? And how big could it be potentially?
Well, I think I just read that in quarter three of this year, which is currently what we're where we're at right now, just closing off, when it hit the sales of about 10.7 billion USD. I think in August alone, it said in August alone, it did about 3 billion. So the summertime was, it boomed even more just in the last couple of months.
Right. Do you think this could become 100 billion or even potentially $1 trillion market in the foreseeable, let's say 5 years from now?
I think it definitely can because we're, just paintings or just, or just the traditional, the drawings or the art. Now we have, like we were talking about with even with the sports part, even with movies, James Bond is with MGM, they're also doing NFTs. So now we have, I think, so many different medias and mediums that are coming into, creating their own NFTs. So imagine that. Imagine like all types of entertainment as we know it are going to be starting to get into NFTs and minting NFTs. So that will definitely grow the market size.
No, I think you're right. It's hard to put an exact number, but there's only so much more upside than downside that I see. Because that's how the industry is meant to be. It's only meant to grow in an open fashion as long as there's real usage and utility behind it. So now that we talked about some of like the key benefits and why you would want to get into it, how can an artist get started, like on a practical scale? What do you think are the key steps?
Well, if you're coming from a traditional, perspective like me, you would actually need to start with your original piece, your original inspiration, whether it is a drawing, a painting, or something you just doodled by hand, and then you can just capture it, scan it with your phone or with a scanner, and then usually you would just finalize it using computer softwares such as Photoshop or Illustrator. There's artists who have they are used to do using in two-dimensional form, or they've gotten into using 3D as well. So 3D software such as Blender, Maya, Cinema 4D, these are all softwares that you could, use to finalize. So I think as an artist, you just need to figure out how comfortable you are with each software and then trying to just go with it.
So does that mean that artists can continue to use software that they're already using and comfortable with?
Yes, if the artists, use whatever softwares and methods, on the computer that you're most comfortable with and just go with it. If you already know how to use Photoshop and Illustrator, just go with it. And then if you have time to, build your skill, then you can learn other softwares if you want to enhance your art in whatever way.
Got it. So then at the end, right before you mint it, essentially, if it's already digital, you can export it as the final finished file. Or if it's physical too, you can scan it or take a picture as we discussed. Then I think now here's another misconception or thing that people don't really know is you have the final digital file. How do you actually mint it, so-called, or create the NFT? I think it's really simple. Just get the digital file. Oftentimes it can be a video, a GIF, music file, or image is mostly common. It has to be a reasonable file size because you don't want to spend hours uploading. But I think what you do is then you upload the file. Usually platforms have a very just easy click by click. You upload and then there's a button to mint. When you mint, this is when you need to connect your crypto wallet, your digital crypto wallet. A good example is MetaMask. And you need to, of course, have coins in there, either BNB or ETH or whatever token in there, depending on the platform. and you use that to pay the minting fee and the network fee. There can also be other platform fees, it depends, but it's very step by step you go through. And then after you mint it, minting just means creating, so you still need to decide whether you're going to sell it in the open marketplace, where you can often choose the price. You can either auction it, set the starting bid, or you can just keep the NFT, which actually now lives in your crypto wallet, the MetaMask. So that digital wallet is almost like your digital portfolio as well.
Yes, you explained it very well. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah. So oftentimes this can honestly only take 5 minutes. I would say the time that takes the longest is really depending on how big your file is. Because the bigger the file, the longer it takes to upload. But the actual paying the transaction fees, minting really doesn't take that long.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long, but then you have to consider, artists will have to consider how many they're going to mint. If it's just one, then it's easy. But then if you get into, let's say, the thousands, 1,000 to 10,000 that, a lot of brands and artists are getting into now, then that would be, you have to consider about the platforms that you'll be using as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's equally important. Even if you're an individual with a lot of collections, thousands, it doesn't make sense to do one by one. If you're a company too that has a bunch of arts or NFTs to upload, same thing. There are platforms out there like NFT marketplaces where the team will personally get in contact with you and they'll help you to manually upload these because the team can do it in bulk. It's just like uploading things in bulk and then the company or whatever does it on the back end. So these people usually are very knowledgeable. They help consult you and walk you through the process. So don't feel like you need to do everything on your own.
Yes, that's definitely. I think it's called Pinata. It's kind of like an iCloud of where you can upload mass NFTs and store it on there. And there's codings to be able to do that. So it's definitely doable, but every artist needs to do their research.
But apart from the technicals, I know a lot of NFT platforms, they like to work with really good artists. Whether you're famous or not,
Hmm.
do you have like quality or interesting art? Oftentimes they'll work with you and help you to set it up, and they'll even provide you with resources like marketing. And imagine there's hundreds of other NFTs already on that minting platform or marketplace. They can get you on the front page depending on your caliber and the arrangement.
Yes, well, like platforms such as Nifty Gateway or Super Rare, they're very selective in choosing the artists that is going on their platform. They have a selection process, so you would actually need to provide them your social media, your background, your portfolio, and then as well as your social media. They want to see that you've been active on and have a presence, and how big is your community following. So and then you can see on their platforms the type of art that goes in there is more sophisticated. It is definitely more. It's not like just it's not as simple as just the pixel JPEGs.
Yes, we mentioned pixel JPEGs because trust me, there's been like a pixelated rock that sold for $1 million. You can Google it, a bunch of news comes up. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but I think in the longer term, NFT launchpads or even marketplaces want to scout really good artists that will constantly create the good art. It's just like because if they invest early, right, help support you early, it's good for them. They get brand recognition, and it's just like how early rappers, up and coming ones, they do feature songs with the more famous one, and they build each other's reputation.
Yes, definitely. Right now, there's so many different types of art, art forms within the NFT space, from super geometric shapes to the pixel JPEGs to, three-dimensional, very spacey, like done well, really well, like high definition videos, like short videos. There's just so much variety. And to say like what is good and what is like, oh, I think if from an artist coming from, the art perspective, I think all is art, right? Like you said, like that rock sold for 1 million. So
Yeah,
what is to say that's not good art when it sells for that much, right?
exactly. And again, from the resource perspective, the NFT and blockchain world is very open by nature. So these platforms, yes, they have billions of dollars in trading volume, but their team is still very open, very forward thinking. So I would say don't be afraid to reach out to the team directly and get help. Or even better, the community, who can help you and guide you because they went through the same exact thing or have the same exact questions that you might have. So then now that we're talking about community and after the NFT is minted, where can you market it? Where do you get the exposure?
Well, usually on the NFT marketplace, there would be they would be able to help market. I think you just need to get in contact with them, and depending on, all of the NFT marketplace have social medias as well, so they could help to promote, as well as their social medias. Obviously, there's the Twitter, Instagram. There's also Telegram groups, as well as Discord. Discord is actually very popular for artists wanting to launch NFTs, as they're very good at filtering out, just filtering it out. So they tend to have very good quality ones. And then we have also KOLs, influencers, where you could use them to promote the art, such as the Human and Machine is also they also can promote brands and artists as well. So these are all different ways.
Yeah, exactly. I think influencers, if you're in crypto or NFT, you need to have good content or projects to talk about. So it is a win-win. Just make sure we can filter the really good ones and not just a $1 million JPEG rock that eventually no one will care about. And to comment, I think Discord, for some reason, it just became like the community for NFTs because, like you said, it filters out the bots, the fake accounts, and all these spammers. And then when you go in there, yeah, people are posting like really good questions, really good ideas, sample images, and I think it's a good way to meet real people that are like-minded.
Yes, the filtering part is really important because, for us, for the general person just looking at through, there's so much, the market is so saturated right now, and how do you filter through all the art, right?
Exactly. Because one, art is subjective, but then two, there are also spammers too that you need to watch out for. And it's not like anyone can just keep buying $1 million art either. So it's a tricky thing. But the whole point is it's very open. So anyone can mint NFT, anyone can market it anywhere. It's just a matter of how can you get real exposure with the right community and the right platform or players. So now we talked about where to market. I forgot to mention where exactly you can get these BNB and tokens. Oh, okay. First off, let's get back to the MetaMask wallet. This is available on the App Store for iOS, Android. You can also just get the web version on Chrome and other browsers. It's completely free, which we have links in the description if you need to download. And then you also need to get the BNB or ETH or whatever token you're going to use. If you use OpenSea, ETH is probably the most standard. You'll need to sign up usually for crypto exchanges. Famous ones are like Coinbase, Binance, and you can buy them with like a credit card or you can do bank transfer as well. There are many guides out there on how you can do so. So it really depends on where you are and what platforms you're eligible for. So once you buy the tokens, you would then send it to your MetaMask, and then from there you can start the minting, uploading process. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video. We kind of went into an overview of how to start. We can even do an example of a tutorial where we share our screen and do everything step by step on specific platforms. Do you have any more comments that you would like fellow artists to know?
Don't give up your other streams of income of doing art. If anything, I think do everything that, if you can, if you have the time for it, whether it's selling your prints, your original prints, or making NFTs. So I think it's definitely worth a try to just try it out because who knows, right?
Exactly. And if you're worried about the monetary component, again, you can even get started for a few USD and just test them.
Correct.
Okay. So thank you, Apple, for an overview of the discussion.
Thank you.
We'll continue our fireside chats on more about NFT art and how you can get started. Do hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon as well. And comment down below what kind of content you'd like us to cover or explain more, because I know there's so much subtopics that we can explore. Okay, thank you, Apple, and thank you all. See you next time.
Thank you.